All right, I wasn't really sure if I was going to video this or you make an episode of it. It's not really exhaust content, but then neither has been the Valiant or the Patrol or a few of the other smaller jobs I've done here on the channel. So I think I'll make one video. If anyone's going to be interested in it, I might make another one. If not, I'll just keep working on it myself and it'll appear someday somewhere. So what's behind me is my FB Holden. What I'm sitting on is my 1970 Toyota Stout chassis, and the grand plan here is to build my Gasser, my lifelong dream of having a Gasser that you can drive on the street. And I know a lot of people don't like that idea, but I absolutely love that idea. I think it's brilliant. So basically the plan is I can't put a straight axle in the front of the FB. It's not allowed. You can't do that. Maybe if you knew someone and could do a bunch of engineering, it could be mildly possible, but not easy and not within my abilities. So that unfortunately is out. I did pursue that for a small amount of time. A chassis swap is the way to go. I can legally register this car as a Toyota Stout and use the chassis and running gear as a Toyota Stout would be. So I'll swing you around. And here we have a Toyota Stout chassis. I picked this up a little while ago. I actually picked up an entire vehicle that was rusted out. But a Toyota Stout chassis has a beam axle in the front. And it's also within 60 millimeters of the correct wheelbase of an FB Holden. It's also within 50 millimeters of the correct track for the car as well. So it is nearly the chassis the car could have come with at some stage. It lines up in nearly every way that is crucial. And the only big thing is the wheels will be a little bit more further forward, which actually works in my favor because I want some big fender headers coming out and the wheel further forward suits me perfectly to a T. Track is narrow on the Stout chassis, so therefore the wheels will be in further. I can run a bigger dish, also very cool. So I'm happy with all of those things. Let's go for a little wander over here. I'll show you some of the parts I've been collecting over the years. I do have nearly everything to make this dream come alive. It's scooting through here. There's my gearbox. I only picked this up this week. Geez, no, this week. It's a Muncie 4-speed out of a Corvette with a Hurst shifter. All the pieces I need to make that work, so that's a pretty cool piece. The main part's in here. That right there is a small block Chev with an original old school Edelbrock TR1 intake. That's like the key piece to the whole car. So yeah, I got my engine. I got a 9-inch, which is already cut to the correct-ish length for an FB. It actually came out of an FB, so I don't know how it's going to work with our Stout chassis. We'll find out. And I bought these wheels, mainly because they were cheap, actually. It's going to be in mock-up for a long time. I actually don't want the rims. I'm going to sell them. If you're chasing a set of rims, they're for sale. I've got another set that are going to go on it, the more period-correct wheel. But the Hoosier tyres, it's going to roll around the workshop. It needs to be on Hoosies. So that's that. So my first order of business is to clean the chassis up, get rid of all the pieces that I don't want, which is a lot. They're a riveted chassis. That does make things a little harder, but at the back side of it, it'll be way neater than cutting and grinding. So this and this, tray mount, cab mount for the Stout. I'm gonna get rid of these rivets. Done rivets before, they are not fun. They're a lot of hard work. The Stout's also a 6-stud. I'm gonna try and make it a forward pattern in the front, because I've got forward pattern in the rear. And I'm gonna strip the whole thing, sandblast it, so that we can get it ready to have new mounts to carry an FB Holden on it. So that is my plan for this evening. I have a bunch of grinding discs, a power hammer, a drill, and a couple of hours of spare time. So I don't know, maybe I'll get it all stripped tonight. You never know. This is the plan of attack. Have my drill. And these little drill bits, I call them a pilot drill. They're actually for doing rivets. They come in a box of like 10. They're double-ended. They're very good. They stay sharp, and you can just mow through a whole bunch of them. You haven't spent much money. I've hit the top of everything with a grinder just to give me a flat surface, and then put a hole in it. It's a nice pilot. And then I'll come back with like a 10mm bit and bore it right out, and we'll lose the head. At that stage, you can usually knock the brackets off. And then we'll come back with the power chisel or power hammer, whatever you want to call it, and drive the old rivet piece out. So that one, same on that side, and then all the ones going back, except for Actually, probably just that one. I might leave those two. I don't know. Don't actually know how that's going to go. That might just line up really nicely on the bodywork and they can be the body mounts. That's a good idea. I might do that. We have to do something with this cross member that's not going to work with my setup. I may just notch it for now and we'll work that out later. And obviously everything has to come off this chassis so it can be blasted. So not using the rear diff, all that's got to go. Drill bit number 2 is an 8mm. So all those holes are now drilled to 8mm. I had a hit with the cold chisel on one of them. We're not even close to getting them, so let's go 10mm. That doesn't want to come off, does it? I think I bent it. Should be free. There's only 2 rivets holding it. Well, the other one came off easy. Update. This job sucks. This thing here that I bought from Super Cheap, which I thought was going to be the most genius thing in the world, just makes a ton of noise and is dead set useless. So, I drove that one through, but it was pretty much already falling out. It won't move these at all. No go. That sucks. I'm gonna drill them out a bit more, see if I can't weaken them. When they're done, not only do they squish this way, when you do that, they expand out into the steel, which means even though you take the head off, they usually are quite tight to get out. So, yeah, more work. Alright, for the win, I drilled them out to 8mm, which removes any of the tension out of it. Allows you to drive it out. And then it comes off. They are a mission. And even, it's always going to be a difficult job. But man, this sucks. I'll do the same over there. I'll clean up these last couple of riveted bits. He's got to go. He can stay for now. Center one has to go because I'm not going to be running a 2-piece tail shaft. It's only a tail shaft retainer for the center bearing. And that's just the start. Then I've got to like rip all the suspension out of it, so it's a bare chassis. Well, that was difficult, but I know what I'm doing now. Pretty much have to drill them all the way through and then drive them out the punch. The power hammer doesn't have enough go to it. But we're making progress. This is a start. Let's keep moving. Right, so the mounts are out. That was time consuming, but it's done. Brake lines are now all out. Fuel lines out. Rear shocks are off. Front ones are now off. There's the last one of those. They weren't too bad. Sway bar is out of the front. What am I going to do next? That is that. So we're good with all of those parts. I think we're coming down to the suspension. To knock off those couple of mounts for the shocks. But then I think we're going to relieve the suspension. I actually have no idea what I'm going to do there. The chassis is sitting up on this hoist. I'm going to have to somehow get some stands under it and hold it while I rip all the, undo all the, what are they? Shackles and the pins that retain the springs, so I can just wheel them from underneath it. So I don't know, make that up as I go at this stage. But so far we're going all right. I'll probably knock the wheels off. Get it down a little bit lower here. All in all, it's going well. Nothing's too big of an issue so far. I am dreading getting the shackles out. Normally the steel pin inside the shackle, where it's inside the rubber, it'll rust and it'll grow to this big round knobby bit in the center, and you just destroy the shackles getting it off. Normally that wouldn't bother me, but in this scenario, getting a shackle for a heavy stout from 1970, it's harder than you think. There's not that many parts available for these things. So I need to get it apart so that I can reuse it, and that lies my issue. So, I still got the bump stops out too, they gotta go. Just stuff like that, I'm just itching away at it, so I won't bore you all with all the main details like that. We'll get to the diff next. Well, I took this wheel off because this side of the chassis, I was gonna say car, this side doesn't roll. The wheel just sits very nicely on its blown out tyre. Now, you can tell by my being out of breath right now, you can see this fellow here was pretty much not coming off. He was a mission. But it did reveal what looks to be fairly recent wheel cylinders and really good shoes. Like, it's good, but now it rolls. Now the reason this is important, other than the fact that if I wanted to quit now, go home and have it rolling around, that'll make life easier. It's important because when I undo all of the suspension, so I'm going to take it from here on this side of the spring, that side of the spring there, and roll it out the back of the car chassis. It wouldn't have rolled, it would have been a mission, and that's a big heavy old diff. I don't need to have that issue. So I'm just going to bang the wheel back on. I suppose I could lose some tension out of these. I don't know, seems like a lot of work. It's 9 o'clock at night already. But that diff moves freely, it's a happy diff. If anyone's looking for a stout, heavy diff, I have one, 6 studs and all. Alright, that was a mission, but it is now off. There's actually a genuine drum. Where is it? There's a Toyota symbol in it somewhere. I saw it before, there it is. So yeah, genuine. This probably would have been an alright car. All the bolts have come undone quite well. It was parked under some trees for a long, long time. So I would say that was its fate. It was actually, you could see that previously the dashboard had been fiberglass. So the whole firewall and the air vents where they hold everything was all fiberglass. So I'd say after it had done its time, it just got parked up. So yeah, there you have it. Whee! Anyway, sort of losing momentum here. Get this wheel back on it. There's a bit of air in it. Hopefully it takes a bit of air. That way I got something I can roll out from underneath the chassis. On a closer inspection, I found our problem. Top shoe, still bonded. Bottom shoe, not bonded. That'll probably do it. Yeah. Probably throw this drum back on now and it might even work. Is that one gonna come off? Yeah. There you go. I guess it sat for too long and everything just went bad on it. Oh, that's cool. Throw the drum back on, get the wheel back on, and we're in business again. Well, both rears took air. Unfortunately, this one here, this one here's got a dead valve. It's not going to last long, but hopefully it's enough to get it off the back of the hoist here. So yeah, let's tackle this. So I'm doing my best here to save these shackles because I just don't know where I'm going to find another set. I have done some looking and I haven't come up with anything at this stage. So I had the nuts on these, so they were sitting flush. I just driven them this far, and so far they're actually moving. I'm now going to hit them with a hammer on the backside, drive them all the way back in, so I've just sprayed everything up. Hopefully that'll be just enough lubricant that I can use a punch and drive it right through the guts there and take the whole thing off. That is the plan. Well, that's one. One is good. Interesting setup, isn't it? Before the conventional shackle arrangement, I suppose. Funnily enough, the FB is the same. Must be a thing of the time. So that's one. Do the other one. Well, that just came apart amazingly well. Look at that. Whoa, straight through. Now I've got a big issue, because I only have a 4-poster hoist, not a 2-poster. Got it all up on prop stands holding it there at the moment, but I guess somehow get this sucker down. I think I can go up. Oh god, this is gonna be an issue. So I have to go up with the chassis to get the diff out from underneath it, and then come down on the stands, get it onto the hoist, bring the hoist back down to the ground, whilst the diff is at the back of the... This is gonna... Give me a minute, I've got to work this out. Well, I got it this far. Yep. Now I'm committed to this terrible idea. Oh yeah, we've got this far. If I can get on the ground, drop that off the back of the hoist, bam! I'm off the back. It's on the ground. Now I'm going to put the hoist back up in the air. We'll roll it under the hoist and out the side of the shop. And if anyone needs a stout rear end, I have one. It is for sale or for free. Come get it. If not, I'm going to put it in the scrap bin. I got ahead of myself. I need the springs. Anyway, we'll park it here next to my gearbox. Yeah, that'll do. Let's get this front end out. Then we're triumphant. Well, I was lured into a false sense of security with the rear. Good Lord. These were hard. This one here in particular, that I've been at for half an hour. That still wasn't great. And that one down there sucked. That one was mega easy. So I got it all the way down the back of the hoist here. What I'm gonna do is take out my prop stand. Oh, actually I'll go up with the prop stand, bring the wheels forward, clear the rails, and then bring it back down, and we're good. We have a stripped chassis for, that's so cool. It's a tricky balance, but I got it down. It's got a piece of steel going across here supporting the rail at the moment, and that's right on the front of the hoist. So now when I come down, scoot that off the front, and we have, well, we've laid rail, people. Check it out, one stripped out, ready to go for sandblasting chassis to make a gasser out of my FB. That is a triumphant night. Probably gonna leave this here. I can't physically move it. Just like that, we've got 2 axles, full assemblies, straight out of the rolling chassis, which no longer rolls, which leads me to my next problem is, how on earth am I gonna lift that by myself? I can't. I'll have to work that out. I'll make some sort of trolley or get one of the boys to give me a lift with it. Freaking rad. Off to sandblasting. This is going to conclude this video. We have a bare stripped out chassis ready to go to sandblasting, which I'm very excited about. If you like this video, let me know. If you want to see more of the gasser build, I am more than happy to video it as I do it. That's not a problem at all. I'm super excited about this project. It's been a dream of mine for a really long time. To not only have a gasser, but to have it street registered so I can drive this thing around. Hence all the effort of the stout chassis, so that'll give me a VIN number and we'll be able to actually register this car. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the thing. There's my chassis ready for blasting. That is going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Before it actually goes to blasting, I've got to get the front end pulled apart, and I've got to somehow convert it from drum brake 6-stud to a Ford pattern disc brake front end. So that's going to be a real trick. I've got some ideas, and if anyone's interested, I'm happy to film that as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, and I'll make some more. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.